Welcome, everyone. We are back for Game 3 of Echo Fox versus FlyQuest. Now, each of these teams are defending a spot at the top of the standings. So let's take a look at the starting rosters, and we're going to start with the new-look blue side Echo Fox. Huni in the top lane, Dardoch in the jungle, Damonte in mid, and then Lost in the bot lane alongside Smoothie at support with their coach Think Card.
Clashing with them on the red side today is going to be FlyQuest. In the top lane, Flame. In the jungle, Santorin. Mid laner, Keane. Bot and support going to be WILDTURTLE and JayJ with Coach Saint Vicious.
We got there in the end. Okay, Saint on your screen. What a beautiful man. Echo Fox made the biggest moves of the split. Huge roster changes for them, of course, right before the roster deadline. Dropped several players in the roster, but most notably, that man on your screen, Smoothie, is wearing white, orange, and blue. Suddenly he is here, and of course, alongside Academy bot laner Lost in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and Lost an import from OCE, so kind of a cool moment for them and for their scene and for him as well to have made it all the way up to the NALCS and to be a strong performer from that region. Smoothie also a very big pickup, not only just for Echo Fox, he'd be a big pickup for any organization, but we're going to have to see how well he meshes with the team. Yes, he has been spending some time in Academy this split, but at the mid-season of spring, people were saying he was the MVP of the league. Last year, he was being considered either the #1 or #2 supports alongside Olay, so he really is a beast, and not only is he a good individual player, but he can contribute as far as shot calling goes.
Yeah, I think it's been really nice for him. Of course, Smoothie will be up against JayJ. Speaking of shot callers, 5-1 record with FlyQuest right now has helped propel them to first place. This guy, I think, is a star in the making.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, he has come in and made such a difference. You know, these new players for FlyQuest, Santorin, and JayJ have really been doing very, very well for the team and really turned around a squad that didn't have a lot going for it in the spring split. I mean, this has also enabled WILDTURTLE, though. That's another really big story, and he is having a much better performance in summer than he did in spring. I think thanks in part to the fact that he has a better lane partner, and also there's more pressure being kind of exerted on the map.
Yeah, honestly, it's been just a great sort of tale of this team really gaining in power. They were an 8th place team last split, right? Not a great run for them, but as we mentioned, tied for first is absolutely huge. I know I've heard some of the mic checks on watching Echo Fox's, or sorry, FlyQuest games. JayJ is super talkative. He's commanding the team, and very clearly so in team fights. Like a lot of these clips, you guys have all seen mic checks before, where it's like, Oriana, get Oriana, and you're like, are you even saying English anymore? And like, that's the actual comms. This dude is super clear. He says his phrases once. He cuts through the din. Like, I am super impressed with JayJ coming in mid-split, and he is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I mean, communication is extremely important, as is removing clutter from comms, right?
Yeah.
You know, you want to communicate everything that is important without all the extra garbage that can sometimes then clutter comms and make it very confusing, make it hard to hear the important calls and cooldowns that are actually being used and monitored. Either way, JayJ certainly has impressed so far, but you know, there have been critics of FlyQuest still. You know, they are sitting at the top of the table, tied for first, 6-4. But a lot of their wins have looked somewhat shaky. They have been picking up wins that perhaps, you know, they shouldn't have gotten based on the game state. You know, when you look last week against 100 Thieves, they were thoroughly behind. 100 Thieves kind of opts into and then botches this base race where FlyQuest barely wins out. You know, so there are still some questions, and it would be very impressive to see them get a dominant win over a top team.
It would be nice to see. Of course, the question would sort of remain, does Echo Fox count as a dominant team right now with a lot of the roster shaken up? I think Damonte's been very, very good. We've seen these high hopes for Lost. Of course, we all expect Smoothie to be quite incredible. I did see his Twitlonger post he put up last week talking about his transition from Cloud9 to Echo Fox, and he said, look, I lost a lot of confidence in my shot calling. The game changed around a whole lot. I no longer knew what we could always take advantage of, what always we could do, and I got a lot quieter. He kind of blamed a little bit of himself and his own familiarity with the game as part of why. He said, but I never lost motivation. I was always trying. I always wanted to get better. Of course, Echo Fox is not giving him the opportunity once again to start on the LCS stage, and we'll see if he feels more comfortable now in the middle of week 6.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And I mean, even if he does have that confidence in his own shot calling, I think it takes some time to fit into a new team.
Sure.
And, you know, this is a team that may have very different wants or needs from his shot calling abilities. When you look at Huni and Dardoch, they, to me, have always been kind of the flagship duo of Echo Fox. They are the guys that are often dictating the pace of the game, calling the shots, doing what they want to do, and the rest of the team is more kind of facilitating that and playing around them. We'll see if that changes with Smoothie, if he kind of tries to step more into a shot calling role. You also have to remember, this trade happened a couple days ago, right? This has not been long. Smoothie and Lost, it's not like they were on an academy team together. They have no practice, really, you have to think, besides the last couple days. So as a duo, that could take some time to polish up as well.
Well, things to watch for here. 15 seconds to go for the beginning of the ban phase. I want to point out that Flame has soft counterpicked himself with the Mundo into Gangplank. Typically see GP as a big pickup to counteract that one. Of course, Huni on a fairly comfortable high damage character here. Flame, Mundo can certainly do well in the matchup. We've actually seen things such as FlyQuest themselves suffering at the hands of Someday in this very matchup themselves, being the Gangplank, and the Mundo walked all over them. So certainly outplays can happen here. Either way, we have the Kindred picked up early for Santorin. That could look very, very good. Support Shen for JayJ puts a lot of power in his hands, and I think he's made mostly good decisions here on the LCS stage.
Yeah, I mean, we had actually seen kind of Flame on the wrong end of this matchup. You know, a couple of times. You know, he actually did lose the matchup as GP into Mundo very heavily. Yep. We had also seen Someday kind of play the opposite side and win on that side too, very heavily on the GP. So,
right, yeah.
You know, certainly I would say that it is one of those matchups where GP, if played very well, can get a farm lead and have maybe a little bit of pressure or whatever, but it's more about just getting to those items and then taking over, whereas the Mundo certainly can win in the early stages, and I would say on one item can actually have an opportunity to bully the GP. A lot of it comes down to how well they're using the barrels, who's winning the mini game of the last hit on that barrel, and you know, a lot of things like that.
And I know I have talked to some coaches who have sort of made the joke that actually Gangplank isn't actually that strong of a character. I think the quote I heard was like, you get to 20 minutes in, you're like, man, Gangplank could be any other champion right now. Sort of intending that it wasn't going to be a very good pick in some of the games. So I think not even every team really wants to play that style, but of course Echo Fox happy to opt into it. Looking at the Echo Fox lineup, by the way, they've already locked in their duo for Lost and Smoothie. That's going to be Varus, Tahm, Kench down there. We don't know their jungle in mid just yet, but we'll wait to see what Dardoch and Damonte want to play. Meanwhile, on FlyQuest side, they're going to play Kai'Sa Shen bot lane with Mundo top, the Kindred jungle, and Keane is going to get counterpick here in this one.
And Huni is a guy that really can play these GP matchups very, very well, despite the fact that they actually lost 100 Thieves last week. He was playing GP into Darius. He had opened up, you know, a 30 or 40 CS advantage before things kind of started going bad in that 1v1. And, you know, if Flame, who has not been performing as well, does kind of get isolated there with Huni, that could spell some bad things for them. That being said, it's not always going to be that true 1v1. There is a Shen support we're assuming here for JayJ. That has the ability, obviously, with the Stand United to go up to the top lane to kind of pile onto Huni. And Huni has been very susceptible to that, giving up many, many kind of isolated deaths throughout this split. And in general, just not performing as well as we have kind of come to expect out of Huni.
Ooh, and Camille back in the lineup. Saw a couple of Camille games in LCK pretty recently, actually, so that champion, I think, kind of coming back in the lineup, but had largely disappeared in the nerfs of 8.12, where her hook shot lost something like 50 damage at max rank, like a really, really big nerf for that ability. But now a little bit back in the lineup, a very aggressive ganker, of course, and something that is suits Dardoch quite well, and now Galio in the mid lane for Keane will be hoping to counteract some of those dives.
Yeah, I do really like the combo of Camille with the GP also. You can actually kind of lock someone in. Yes, it is not the Camille Galio combo, but GP ultimate layers extremely well over that Camille ultimate also. And it's someone who really can help GP in the split push to lock down and take down the Mundo. You have enough burst with those two champions to really look to do that, but obviously Shen with the global ultimate looks to respond there. Galio with the semi-global ultimate can also look to respond to and kind of protect that Mundo. Also have to always mention the Galio plus Kindred ultimate interaction. If you actually use that Kindred ultimate early, you can time the Galio ultimate so that that CC is landing right out of that ultimate, and that gives you a huge advantage coming out of that Lambs or Spite.
Yeah.
So you can burst people down, they're taunted up, they're CC'd and knocked up, and that can be tough to deal with.
Yeah, there's a lot of actually fun synergies there, because even if Lambs or Spite triggers and you get to that 10% HP, you can't be healed, but you can still be shielded. So there's lots of ways to kind of keep alive throughout that gameplay, and we'll see as the lineups are locked in. It's going to be a fun one to watch for. High damage to the left-hand side out of Echo Fox. Our first look at their new lineup, their promoted Academy Kiwi bot laner in Lost. They've got Smoothie over from Cloud9, was sitting on the Academy bench down there, and back in the starting rosters here up against FlyQuest, who have seemed to find a great roster on their own side. JayJ and Santorin coming in this split have looked very, very good. A first-place contender right now. We are ready to play our games of League of Legends. Third game of the day, a battle at first place. Echo Fox taking on FlyQuest.
It's going to be really interesting also, you know, to kind of look at Lost in isolation in this game, because yes, you kind of watch them in Academy throughout the split, but Echo Fox's Academy team is not good. They are sitting at 2-10, and as a result, you know, Lost is obviously, they're losing all their games. He's not looking as strong individually, but it's sometimes hard to tell how much of that is because the team is not performing around you and how much of that is you individually not performing that well. He now is surrounded by some much more known quantities.
Yeah.
And if he can perform on this level, then you can start to think, okay, well, maybe he is very good individually, but the team in Academy was just not working.
Of course. So we'll see if the LCS team continue to work the third-place finisher from Spring. Hope to make it very good here. Echo Fox and the rest of these teams can be caught live if you want to join these teams at the LCS studio in Los Angeles. Tickets are available, WILDTURTLE.com/tickets. Come hang out with us. We love you all very, very much. Thank you. You don't care about me as often, apparently. There was like 4 people cheering.
What are you going to do to show your love, to prove your love to them?
What? I show up to work every day talking about League of Legends.
I don't know if that's...
I tell funny jokes.
Ooh, that one's debatable, too.
Ooh, I put up with Azale.
Okay, that'll work. That'll work.
I put up with Azale for you guys. I got them almost every week this split. I care that much.
Yep.
We are in there.
Sharing is caring for you.
Sharing is
Let me cast with other people.
You got one of those last week.
That's true.
I cast with Kobe. I missed you. I'm glad we're back together.
We are back together.
I'm intimidated by people with hair.
Oh.
You know, so I'm glad we got to kind of match up nicely.
There you go. It's the synergy. But we're into the game. Santorin going to be starting his buff solo on the top side. And a lot is going to kind of come down to, if there's a point of conflict, is where that Kindred bounty is actually going to spawn on that first scuttle. We'll see if it spawns on the bottom side of that. That is where he's looking to clear to. He is trying to avoid any potential interaction with Dardoch, as you're expecting Dardoch to clear straight up to the top side. And it does spawn on the bot.
He's going to go for the gank first, though. Wow. Galio. Oh, but he's stunned already. He actually can't flash in a range, so Santorin gets an auto attack, and Wolf hits a couple times. I
feel like once you saw that Scatter the Weak, there's no point really even trying. You should just actually go over and just do the mark, because you know that gank has already failed at that point, right? So you're kind of just putting yourself behind a little bit in the tempo. But the Echo Fox bot lane is pushing up. He will be able to grab this bounty regardless, and it's kind of time to see what the response is going to be.
Oh, that was a bit close.
That was actually very close.
Smoothie flash for Tongue Lash would have gotten it, but that would have been risky.
So Dardoch was spotted going into this top side. There's a ward that it did expire that was in the river. But they could look to actually perform a dive here. If Huni can get this shoved in, Dardoch is going to be level 3. He did just use the hook shot, though. That's actually
12 seconds to go. So we're looking at
level 1.
Yeah, 3 minutes 10 would be when he can start that dive again with CC available. Wave is in. Is Dardoch going to go for anything but steals? Yeah, it looks like not a dive at all. Just some damage out they go, but you don't have to think about the attempt. Look for anything else.
Would be risky, you know, but it's one of those things that is always an option when you know that Kindred kind of had spent some time and was down on the bottom side of the map. They can look to kind of go for a later dive. Generally, you're trying to actually get that dive happening on the Mundo pre-6, because once Stopwatch comes in at 8 minutes, Stopwatch plus Ultimate generally means you are undivable unless it is a ridiculously bad situation. But Santorin with some very fortunate spawns on these marks. Already 2 easy marks, both spawning on the bottom side of the map where he had control. You know, he could very easily be sitting at 0.
So we're going to check in with now Echo Fox coach ThinkCard about what's been going on this week.
Thanks, guys. Ask ThinkCard about their newest AD carry, Lost. He says that he thinks that Lost is an incredibly smart and mechanically skilled player, and that just to help with a little bit of stage fright, a little bit of nerves on stage today, he's going to be picking up his comfort pick in Varus. Back to you guys.
I think it makes sense. You know, set him up for success, right?
Like
you know, it's very different playing in front of a crowd like this, playing in front of a bigger audience. You know there's more pressure, so you know, limit some of those variables. You can depend more on just kind of the reactions. You don't have to think through as many moves when you're playing a champion you play all the time.
All right, now though, Keane on the back foot right here. Damonte, who's had, I think, an absolutely stellar summer split so far with Echo Fox. I think it's been mostly all great games out of him. Pretty big CS lead here, +9 up against this Galio. Keane shoved away a bit here, and Echo Fox 400 gold up. Some of that being Gangplank exists, but still a pretty rich team who have farmed quite nicely. They've got a solid camp lead on Dardoch and half a wave or so from Damonte.
And Santorin trying to sneak around here behind Huni. Actually managed to avoid all the vision, so they could look for this, but I think they probably have him. I mean, Flame is fairly low, but
got a Pharaoh. We'll see if they can play around that one right now as it times down. He goes for the Q, gets some minions, but he's got nowhere to go. First blood picked up, nicely done. Santorin, 400 gold richer.
Yep, Flame playing that pretty smartly too, knowing he's the only one who can actually really get killed there, so he kind of just gets a little bit of damage in, then backs off, and just good pathing, honestly, from Santorin, avoiding that ward, and Huni's going to TP right back in. Santorin could have actually stayed, decides not to. But that is one of the most devastating things that can actually happen to you as a top laner in this game, is when the wave is kind of frozen, soft frozen against you, and you TP back in to die. Here it is one more time. Flame very low, knows he kind of has to try to avoid this barrel, so it's a little bit of damage, does back off, but meanwhile mid lane.
Yeah, a bit of damage here. Knockout actually going to find Damonte here, but that's going to give time for the re-engage to come through. Does Dardoch want in? Now with the TP channel, Flame had, I believe, started. No, it was actually WILDTURTLE who tried to join, but now it's the chase down as there is no TP left to make this one go in. The ulti comes across, the flash over, Damonte finds that kill, and now Flame wants to 1v1 Huni, gets some damage, heals right back up. Nice cleaver back there as well. Good kill in the mid lane. That dive went well.
Has to be careful though, because Huni's going to hit 6 soon. Dardoch has moved his way up here. Should have been spotted by that ward. We'll see though. I mean, now this is Flame without an ult, so he does have stopwatch in a couple minutes, but that's not going to be available. Santorin is in the area, so this dive likely will go bad if they try it, but they know
Kindred's around though. This is risky
now
with Kindred here.
Yeah.
I think you don't die when you realize that Santorin's like a half screen away, so they'll pull it off. He'll throw some cleavers at minions, throw some cleavers at Huni, and last hit most of the rest of them.
Yeah, but either way, Huni's still maintaining some pressure, so again, doing fairly well in that isolated 1v1, but falling prey to the ganks. He does like to play very aggressively, and that's honestly how you have to play to really create those big individual advantages that he can get. But that exposes you to ganks, and then if you don't have full vision, if you do not have your team there to back you up, then sometimes you're giving up too much. And Huni, maybe needs to kind of learn to walk that line a little bit better.
I suppose so. One thing I want to point out though is a very crucial death timing that Huni died when he had money for his Sheen. I think if he gets back in a lane and still has Sapphire Crystal, that's a very different look when he comes back in. Now he's actually taking an on-purpose recall, this time picking up some more stats. A Doran's Blade and a Dagger, I believe, both picked up here. So more sustain, more durability in case of another gank.
Yeah, the Doran's Blade is interesting. I would have kind of just expected if you want a little bit more durability, just grab a Ruby Crystal and work towards that Phage, something along those lines. Because Doran's plus Dagger could just be Ruby Crystal and a Longsword for the pieces of the Phage. This will slow him down a little bit more, but it does give him more immediate power if he's trying to kind of brawl and fight up against Flame, as Huni has been known to do. He really does like to take those aggressive trades and fights.
Definitely going for the stats now approach. It will slightly delay his Trinity Force, but might not mean too much on his side. Does have ulti available. Keep in mind that Gangplank ult is the one global on Fox's side, and of course Galio the one global on FlyQuest. So
Shen as well, you have to obviously take into consideration.
Right. Sorry, I was looking at bot lanes like, oh, those two can help, but you're right. JayJ can go across the map as well.
Yep, certainly does mix things up a bit, and JayJ is getting very close to that level 6 as Dardoch's going to wander in, and we'll try to actually zone Keane away now. This is a nice little move. He's not planning on going on him, but he's just trying to make him take the long route, which means he's going to miss most of, if not all of these minions, likely will be all of them. So that is some more gold and experience lost, and you can see the CS advantage is kind of opening up there for Damonte in the mid lane. Also credit to Lost and Smoothie, who have opened up a decent lead for themselves in the bottom lane as well. And that is somewhat to be expected with Varus into Kaisa. I do think Varus lanes pretty strongly early on, but still playing well for his first match on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, Varus even got specifically early game buffs to his kit not a long time ago. W does a lot more damage in the early game. You don't have to put one rank in it if you want, because it's just less incentive. He's actually, maxing his piercing arrow first right now, which is kind of the new Varus build at this point in time. Going towards AD Varus, it's also the more common of the several builds. Blade of the Ruin King, usually Hurricane crit from there, but there's other options.
Yeah, you've even seen a little bit of lethality in solo queue, people kind of moving back towards that. Not sure. It doesn't really make sense against tanks when you are going up against someone like a Mundo and a Galio and a Shen. You kind of want more consistent damage with kind of physical damage crit build. Blade of the Ruin King going to be more early power, going to be very strong against a lot of these HP stackers here as well. So build makes sense. Nice stopwatch, but the ult, it's a good trade. Trading out that Varus ultimate for the stopwatch is going to feel pretty damn good.
It's a pretty quick read too. Like, he was stopwatching like as he was casting the spell. It was like super early. That's really keen watching for that. So I kind of like that as a JayJ. He's got his eye on the ball, but of course losing that's still kind of rough on his side.
And their turret is being pressured very heavily, right? That is him having a stopwatch in the 2v2 under his own turret, with his turret at 10 minutes already getting pretty low. And Huni, sensing this coming in, will have to back off, but has the GP ultimate, and that is one of the really nice things about this champion is you can just trade your ultimate out kind of a la Rumble and have at least one wave be cleared out.
But so far, this is the matchup that Flame put himself into, said, I will happily play the Mundo into Gangplank. Normally, again, not one considered very good, and with a little bit of help from Santorin, so far doing quite well. Has a bit of turret pressure, but here's Echo Fox, cover picks or not, doing very well in 2-on-2 with their brand new duo lane, the rookie game for Lost right here, and they get first turret in a pretty much untouched lane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no ganks coming in to actually pressure that, so, you know, even though Varus does have the advantage in that actual matchup, you certainly don't expect to result in that big of a difference. And
not.
FlyQuest going to try to pressure up on the top side now here, shove in Huni. They know he has no ultimate. They have the Rift Herald. This should be almost a guaranteed turret. Don't think that Huni should be able to defend this because you should dive him if he tries to stay.
Maybe so, but a teleport comes in to keep him alive, and they will defend this turret as Lost now made his way to his next lane as Dardoch takes Mountain Drink at the bottom side of the map. Echo Fox getting a lot more done in this game.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just really thanks to this bottom lane performance. I mean, having that TP means not only can they not go for the dive, they cannot actually look for that turret. So Lost, holding onto that from laning phase, knocks down first turret. He also got the solo gold there, so 600 extra gold into his pocket means he's going to be probably the richest person on the map, and he certainly is. Has the Bladed Rune King already complete, and definitely going to be looking really good here.
Yeah, full 1,000 gold ahead of his lane mate, only 600 of that being first turret, so 400 extra gold in terms of farm and other performance right here.
And this turret's already kind of chipped down a bit here from Huni, so if they're left, again, in that isolated 2v2, they want to get vision first to know they're not getting ganked, but they could very conceivably knock down that turret topside pretty quickly as well.
Let's see what they find. Of course, we've already seen this 2-on-2 play out before. It resulted in a turret kill, so yeah, very easily, as you're mentioning, could be that second one. Huni walking in the face of other champions to the mid. Take down some of this, quick poke on a JayJ. Keane looking to maybe help out Santorin as well. Dardoch could come down as well, big damage, but yeah, saved out. Smoothie grabs Dardoch, and out they go. Teammates a while ago back in the day. It's now Huni and JayJ gets a couple of shots back and forth. Q lands, and there's a very injured Shen.
Yeah, don't think he wanted that taunt after all. I mean, the taunt's in, has to flash out, almost goes down. Echo Fox, nice little collapse onto the mid lane, putting a lot of pressure here, getting vision down. You can see their focus is mid and top right now. 4 pink wards on the river and up on that side of the map. They have that mid lane turret very low. The bot lane duo goes top, knowing that Shen had to go back to base. That means top lane turret is going down, and Echo Fox is really starting to run over FlyQuest.
Yeah, full court press every single lane up in farm. The single kill went through top lane, which looked good for a while, but Echo Fox looked the better team, at least early on. We'll see that transition well in the mid game, but so far it's looking good. 4,000 almost the gold lead as they get rid of wards and just completely take over this map.
Yeah, I mean, the gold is going to be a pretty big deal here. This early on, 3.5k ahead. Very easily could knock down that mid lane turret and extend that to over 4,000 in the lead. And, that's a couple more hits, really, until that goes down. You can move your bot lane down to the mid lane and try to force something around there with perhaps Varus ultimate. Pretty strong engage from the marksman, and Damonte, when his ultimate is back up, is going to have really strong follow-up. So see what the next move is for Echo Fox, but for FlyQuest, it's kind of trying to stop the bleeding, right? They need to look for proactive plays, but you also need to make sure that your bottom lane is not isolated in this 2v2, which they don't seem to be able to win.
And that's kind of rough right now. Of course, FlyQuest have had good 2-on-2 results. We saw the graphic earlier as the start of the game that WILDTURTLE the split typically has winning lanes, typically has good performances. So far has not stood up well to this Echo Fox squad. Is going for more physical damage. Kai'Sa, by the way, looks like he's actually moving towards Stormrazor. Potentially, that's kind of the components right there. So no longer that old AP Ruin / maybe Ruin King or Rageblade build, but going in towards more standard crit. I don't know if it actually has better late game overall, but that is the build now he's going for today.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Q evolve in a long time. It did get nerfed quite a long time ago, and that was kind of one of the things that helped to prompt people going more for AP and scaling very powerful there as well. Part of it you can say, okay, well, Kai'Sa is a weaker early laner. Shen obviously doesn't really add that much against the Tahm Kench lane because if you taunt in, you end up just getting kind of eaten up and kind of losing that trade. So certainly that is true, but then you have to make good on your advantages, right? And that is Shen's global presence. We haven't seen them actually be able to kind of unlock JayJ to make anything happen with this Stand United. I believe it has not yet been used this game, and you know, WILDTURTLE kind of with his long-range engage ultimate to follow up on things as well. You need to see them being somewhat proactive. Like, I never feel good when I'm watching a game with Galio and Shen and all these champions, and we're 15 minutes in. No one has used their ultimates, right? Like, this is not getting executed on, and I feel like you want to use it more aggressively than defensively.
See that aggressive play can come through right now. Echo Fox have knocked down all 3 outer turrets. 500 gold apiece, not counting first turret gold. Nice little bonus right here as the push continues, this time top side towards tier 2. Pretty quick wave clear, adding in some more attack speed. He's going towards the Zeal upgrade, it seems, for Lost. And may choose to go for any jungle camps he can find on the side of the map, but they're all dead right now, so no extra income for him. Just sitting on this solid 28 CS lead.
Yeah, Hurricane should be super effective for Lost this game. 3 melee champions there for him to kind of Hurricane onto. It's going to feel pretty nice, and I want to see how FlyQuest actually kind of executes on their composition, because there are some pretty nice aggressive ways you can play it with Turtle. You know, Turtle ultimating in, you follow that up with Stand United, with Galio, ultimating all these sorts of things. But other than that, you're really looking for like a Shen taunt flash and Galio follow up or something along those lines, because you know, Mundo, his engage is basically run at them. Kindred's engage is walk at them, right? Like, they don't have very clear go buttons.
Well, they're going to try. Sweeney's on the other side of this fight. Burns his flash to get away. Okay. Sweeney walked past to Mundo and was surprised when he ulted at him. Oh.
Yeah, well, and I think he got scared because also Galio was kind of missing from mid lane, so threatening that roam down. Huni will have to trade out the flash. Nicely done there by Flame. Ultimate for flash, always going to be a pretty good trade here, but...
Except for Zoe's. Zoe has some good ones, but that's not what you're going for here in this one. Either way, yeah, Mark picked up here. Santorin starting to scale a little bit more. Only a few on that kit. 3 right now, the Kindred stacks. 4, again, that magic number on this champion. Might not be too far away. And a turret on the board, of course. We saw FlyQuest get that one, and Turtle got solo gold, so Stormracer done, and his individual gold only, 840 behind Lost, so he's closing the gap a little bit here, and still stacking up, getting more of the items. He's also very close to getting his E evolved, by the way. Berserker Greaves plus Stormracer plus his Zeal upgrade is going to get him there. A nice flash of the wall. Big hard CC and a kill in a Dardoch. Nice pick up there for FlyQuest. But a root comes across. They can get that kill, and they do. Shen is dropped, and Keane, 1 or 2 more hits will kill him. Not quite the damage, though, but still Smoothie will save his teammate, and out they go. But now Flame maybe have gone too far as Gangplank got the kill on the backhand side. There's a kill off onto Flame, and another one is the Galio, and the rest of them dropping a stun long range. They might get off Santorin. He's trying to heal up, go for the kill to heal, but no. That's going to be a tongue lash, and Smoothie grabs that kill. 5-2 on the scoreboard. Echo Fox gets a Drake as well. What a fight out of the blue team.
Yeah, they engage on a Dardoch. They get the kill there, but Lost was just shredding them. Not looking nervous at all here. That was a hell of a fight from him, flashing forward, playing very aggressively, gets a couple kills, and here's the initial play. Dardoch on a ward, doesn't know it. They jump on top of him, they burst him down, but Lost is untouched. Lethal tempo proc. Look at him stepping forward, just shredding through these FlyQuest members, barely not able to kill off Keane, but Smoothie is behind him, so he can afford to play this aggressively. As soon as he hops out of Smoothie, he is again moving forward, playing it aggressively, and Smoothie ulting up with that global ultimate, being able to deliver him in. Probably should have just donated that kill over, but either way, very good stuff here from Echo Fox. And it's actually rapid fire second here from Lost, so kind of favoring the added range and a little bit of burst there instead of going for something like a Hurricane, but impressive first little fight from Lost.
Yeah. And I think he actually managed to flash over the Mundo Cleaver with that one forward, so kind of keeping track of cooldowns and projectiles in his way. So far, pretty decent. Well, of course, we saw Santorin got his 4th mark during that team fight, but it is now a 5,500 gold lead that FlyQuest have to suffer through. A deficit in their case, and that's going to be pretty hard one to get back from. So Echo Fox, I think, well on their way to a temporary control alone of first place.
Yeah, certainly the case, but we have also seen, how quickly someone can go down from the side of Echo Fox, because they don't really have any true tanks. There is the Tahm Kench, that's about as close as you're going to get, but, if Dardoch or Lost or Huni or Damonte, any of those guys really do kind of get caught out and locked down by that CC, they can be burst down extremely quickly. But when that doesn't happen, you see the other side of the coin, which is the incredible amount of DPS that they can put out.
Turtle wants in, maybe on Lost, but of course we'll be next to him. Not going to be much of a problem. I have a quick question because I don't really play any Camille jungle. Even in LCS, is Warrior first still before Triforce?
Yeah, generally people are going to complete jungle item just for more of like the early game power here on the Camille. So I think that's fairly reasonable if you're looking to try to play an aggressive game.
Yeah.
It is definitely the standard.
Okay, because the reason I bring it up is he doesn't need to worry about like the Monster Hunter like jungle enchant debuff or anything, because he's never going to be anywhere near Gangplank's gold. I just want to bring it up as context that with that change, of course, more junglers can be trying to rush the enchant, and now actually fighting the top side. Speaking of the jungler, Santorin takes a big chunk, but here comes the Gangplank re-engage, gonna find a stun, Lambs just fight, Huni gonna run away from it, and here comes Galio, the big hard CC, can they make it happen? Dardoch gets that first kill, Santorin drops, and the re-engage comes through. WILDTURTLE could join, but way too big of health bars. They've picked up 2 already, make it a third, a double kill for Varus, and Echo Fox smash another team fight.
Smoothie brings in Lost with that Abyssal Voyage. He lands the Varus ultimate. He is just shredding through that front line, and Echo Fox are going to go straight onto the Baron. This should be an easy one for them, and they're looking in full control of this game. Going to be nearly 10,000 gold ahead. 20 minutes in after the Baron goes down, and this one is looking pretty over for FlyQuest.
It's looking pretty beautiful for them. 100% kill participation right now for Damonte. He smashed lane as well at 54 CS on this one. Just a great overall game. Watch that fight. Huni happy to face check their jungle.
Yeah, Huni finding Santorin here, hits the barrel chain, drops the ultimate. He needs to force out the Lambs Respite. He's able to do that despite the fact that the Shen ultimate is coming through. And then this Varus ultimate from Lost, able to kind of find that backline access. And despite the fact that, you know, FlyQuest does have decent burst for those frontline targets. Feels like there's too many threats from Echo Fox, and the positioning was too good for them.
Yeah.
FlyQuest was kind of funneling forward into this Varus, who was completely untouched and absolutely blasting them.
Yeah, really good on them cutting away from the Galio. Shen kind of felt wasted on a target that has Lambs Respite. Maybe he wasn't necessary on that target just then, but just, I mean, you're already down so much gold, right? You're like, you need every little piece you can, and it felt like maybe not all quite there for FlyQuest.
It's tough, though, because you're hoping when you stand united on the Kindred that the Kindred can kill the GP before having the Lambs Respite, right? And that is kind of what you're really looking for, is if you have enough survivability to actually not have to ult until after they die, then that team fight can look very, very different. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough survivability, not enough damage to actually make that happen. So then certainly it's kind of the worst of both worlds. But either way, Echo Fox pressing on all sides. They're in full control of this one.
Lane pushed pretty back as well. Huni has his damage reduction, his mortar reminder in there, healing reduction I should say, and can make that matchup even easier. There's the top lane push, works pretty cleanly on Damonte's side. Bot lane nearly gone as well. Baron buff obviously helping with his push. As the minions go down, Huni going to claim some more global gold, going to make it 5-1 in turrets on this wave.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is pushing all sides of the map. Huni's up 3,000 gold over Flame. You know, Turtle is down about 2,000 gold to Lost. 3,500 gold ahead for Damonte versus Keane. You just don't have the members who can match up individually against these guys. They're way too far ahead in gold, and that means that they can press on all sides and probably win on all sides, bearing a mistake.
Yeah, everything's gone well. Everything's gone Echo Fox almost the entire time. There is the single gank top lane, and then a trade kill in a team fight is all I remember seeing going FlyQuest way right now. They are getting absolutely pushed around. There's bot lane and inhibitor turret gone as well. 7-1 in turrets, 8-2 in kills.
Yeah.
Both of these score lines vastly to one side. Top lane and inhib turret falls. Mid lane as well. Now it's 9, and the Baron buff still on for a minute.
I mean, there's potential to actually just end the game with this Baron here for Echo Fox. You know, it would be the safer play to just go back and spend all the gold in your pockets, because they have a lot of gold on their members. You know, over 10,000 gold unspent right now, which is absurd. But Echo Fox being Echo Fox, they may stay around and just try to finish it out, because they are still so strong.
And that's inhibitors falling almost everywhere. One last little bit, yes. That is a gigantic Baron power play. They're going to go for the kill on a Huni if they can. Right there, the chase is on. And he does have flash. Chooses to get over that part of the wall, and Turtle not going to be in range anymore, so Huni walks away on cleanly on this. But this is going to be a nuts Baron power play. It's something like 5 turrets and 3 inhibitors.
Yeah.
Just massive for Echo Fox.
And their buy is absurd. I mean, they legitimately had 10,000 gold unspent on their team. Even without that 10,000 gold, they were still ahead in gold. But now they go back. You see all these item completions coming through. You see the Void Staff now bought up for Damonte. You see a full IE completed there for Lost as Storm Rays are done for Huni. Everyone is on power spikes right now. Everyone is massively ahead of their opponent. And it feels pretty much unwinnable for FlyQuest from here. 3 inhibs down. 14,000 gold down at 24 minutes is one of the most monumental leads we've seen this split.
Looking to close it out in about 25 minutes right here. Up the gut they go. Items in tow. The Baron buff is gone, but they have more stats than they had with that thing at this point because of all they bought. Triple inhib. 6 minions per wave across the map. Yeah, 6,300. Gigantic power play here. I don't see why you can't close it out right now. Leave the Ocean Break on the map. Just kill the Nexus turrets. Nexus to follow. FlyQuest have gotten very little done this game, sadly for them. They lost every lane. A single gank is really all they got for themselves is now onto the turrets they go. No stun just yet. Flame in the front, looks for a cleaver, finds a slow onto himself.
Lost just trying to get a little bit of damage done as that rapid fire comes up. He's just poking away at the turret. They're waiting for the top lane to come in as well. So they have those 6 super minions at once. And FlyQuest has to engage right now or it's just over.
Ulti Burn finds some damage here, actually, and Flame is actually isolated because he has to get away from Varus, and just drops right away for that one. And now the hard engage, JayJ pulls in to find the Galio to get one trade as Dardoch falls. Can this be the miracle fight? A single person taunt. Turtle goes in the back. Can he pick that kill off? He cannot, though, as they kite away. Turtle is traded back as Huni turns himself around, and health bars are dropping. FlyQuest will not stay alive here. A final kill picked up. 13-3. The base is gone. FlyQuest is dead, and Echo Fox hold on to first.
And what a debut it was for Smoothie and Lost, performing so well in that bot lane 2v2, taking down the turret, looking great in the team fights, and Echo Fox putting on one of their most impressive games of the split. Yeah, a 26-minute shellacking of FlyQuest, who was tied with that points.
11, 13, 14,000 damage out of the big carries on that Echo Fox side. Dardoch was there for a couple of ganks, but for the first time all split, it feels like an Echo Fox game that was not about Dardoch carrying. Yeah. That was one of the big things the summer split was where exactly is Huni, where's their bot lane. Damonte's been doing well, but this is now like a 2v5 sort of team, and this was instead Dardoch, who only outdamaged Shen, was part of a couple of fights. I mean, he farmed pretty well, he map controlled pretty well, but yeah, the laners all did a ton of work, and new look Echo Fox looks strong.
While you obviously want Dardoch to have a great individual performance, it is a very good sign that Dardoch can have a game where he is playing Camille, does less damage than Smoothie on the Tahm Kench, and you absolutely blast your opponents, right?
Yeah.
He did what he needed to do, but no more. His lanes all won. They looked very, very good doing it, and I think that's one of the best feelings, honestly, not having to be that one who carries.
Sure.
Not having to have that pressure on you at all times, and it's going to allow Dardoch to, make very intelligent decisions and not always feel like he has to force it and try to do something crazy.
Yep, so a good debut for Lost. Echo Fox holding on to that #1. They own it alone for now into the other 2 games of the day, but now to share their thoughts on Game 3, let's send it back over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. First off, I'd like to welcome FLICKR to the desk after your big win today over TSM. But diving into this Echo Fox, very clean, very quick Echo Fox victory over FlyQuest in a battle for first, I want to get your thoughts on champion select, because I know at the outset of it, you weren't the fondest of the Camille pick for Echo Fox.
Yeah, so I liked Echo Fox's team comp, where they picked 3 strong lane matchups, and then the Tahm Kench that's kind of going to help them keep everyone safe and have a very clear goal for how they're going to play the game out. The Camille, to me, if it doesn't get ahead early, it's not going to do that much. We saw it didn't do that much damage. He did keep up in farm, and he did keep up map pressure, but I would have liked to see a tankier jungle. I know Gragas was banned, but maybe a Sejuani or something there instead.
Okay, so the idea being that because it's a slightly or less tanky champion, you think their win conditions narrow significantly?
Yeah, I think if you don't have that tanky champion that can kind of jump into the enemy team, then if you fall behind, it's going to be a lot harder to kind of be able to force plays to get you back in the game.
All right, that said, they did have 3 strong lanes, and very quickly we saw a gold lead built for Echo Fox, both in CSD as well as turrets taken.
Yeah, and that kind of just speaks to how their comp worked. So obviously, Syndra lane dominant, Varus pretty good first pick, and then the GP Mundo matchup, I know you had a lot of thoughts on who has power when, and if you don't get the first dive off pretty quickly, the Mundo just becomes unkillable. And they didn't get that dive off even though the pressure was up there, but Huni was still playing it with knowing he had Dardoch in his back pocket and was also able to make some pretty big gold leads.
So to me, that has been mostly true for a lot of Echo Fox's split, right? They smash a lot of early lanes, and then they'll either get ganked or they'll start dying or they'll opt into fights. I was very impressed with the restraint that Echo Fox was able to show this game. They had 3 deaths as a team. 2 games this split, Huni has had less than that. Every other game he's died more than the entire team did in this game.
Yeah.
And I want to know how much the new guys had to do with that. How much of that was Smoothie and Lost, or if it was just Echo Fox being able to show more restraint.
I mean, looking at these stats, right? TSM, the win over TSM in week 4, they had 4 total deaths for the team. That's the second lowest number of deaths that they've had throughout the split. So lowest death total in summer split, game 1 for Smoothie coming in. I mean, do we think that is a product of Smoothie and Lost?
How about right here, the guy who's former teammate?
I think you can definitely point to Smoothie as like a huge factor in why that happened. I mean, Tahm Kench is obviously a very good champion for saving your teammeats and keeping them from killing themselves. And I think Smoothie did a really good job of that this game.
I do want to take a look at a couple of the fights because it might anecdotally show some of what you're driving at here, chat. The idea that, okay, FlyQuest definitely going to go be the aggressors in this situation. They do zero out Dardoch, but ultimately the fight falls in favor of Echo Fox.
Yeah, well, this felt like an Echo Fox fight. Like, once Dardoch went down, they still decided to fly all in. Even the flash forward next to a Mundo to try to finish off the Galio. Mainly, it was just them being very strong, and the FlyQuest used everything they possibly could on the Camille, when really there's a whole other slew of threats on the Echo Fox side.
But you did see Smoothie jump out there and go, hey, Lost, let me go ahead and bring you back, get you in check.
Yeah, and Lost did a good job in that fight, just putting out damage and not losing any time auto-attacking. And then this fight was just another one of those ones where Huni kind of baits them because they're ahead and they can take that kind of fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fight that starts. When you don't have engage, you can just have like a carry run at them, and then as soon as they try to fight you back, you just fight them. So that's definitely one way to play team fights.
Yeah, that's always my
Maybe not your favorite way.
Strong enough, I can just run head first at the enemy team and come out, better for it. But as we mentioned, kind of low damage out of that Camille, but they didn't need it because of the advantages across all 3 of their lanes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, understated effectiveness from Damonte in this game. No Galio matchup is Galio favored, but it's definitely not supposed to be 160 to 100, which is what it was at some point for Damonte in that one.
Let me ask you this, FLICKR. We just talked a whole heck of a lot about what Echo Fox did well, given their composition to steamroll over FlyQuest. Let's pretend I put you in FlyQuest shoes here, same exact draft, so you're not going to be able to adjust the draft to your liking. How do you play it differently as FlyQuest to maybe come out with a victory?
I think FlyQuest did a good job early game, mainly Santorin. He covered for Flame a lot in the losing matchup early game, the Mundo GP, where he was always there every time a wave was crashing, so they couldn't get that dive off. Because of the Shen pick, the way you're going to want to snowball is you're going to want to just send Kindred top, try to get Galio out of mid lane, and just try to dive the GP and kind of turn it on them, so that you can just have that numbers advantage in the top lane.
It's almost halfway there. They got Santorin to the top lane. They actually needed to bring more members to make it lopsided.
There was that one 2v2 in the mid lane where the TP came in to try and dissuade that out of WILDTURTLE, but they still ended up finding the kill on Keane. And that's kind of where it felt like that game plan started falling apart, because then he was pressured a lot. Then that CS lead started coming in, and the Galio did not manage to have a big impact on this game.
Well, either way, a quick win, 25-55, for Echo Fox with their new lineup. A great way to start it off here in week 6. Going to hand it off to Avli, who's sitting down with Echo Fox's newest members.
Thanks, guys. Smoothie, congratulations on the win and looking good in the new jersey. How have you been liking Echo Fox so far?
Well, so far it's been great. It's been a really crazy week for me. I know Echo Fox has been really good to me. I kind of just went to their house the first day after the trade deadline, which was Monday, and just started scrimming immediately. So it was a really smooth transition, and I have all the staff and players to thank for that.
And I want to hear a little bit more about your week with the trade line kind of being on that Tuesday. What was Monday and Tuesday like for you?
Well, it was emotional 2 days. It was pretty sad leaving my old team, but things had to happen. And again, we just went to their house and just started streaming. We're just a bunch of guys, 5 guys playing games, so it's pretty easy.
And you released your Twitlonger post kind of explaining the reason behind the benching. You said that you were never unmotivated and that it was more of a communication issue. So, I mean, it must have been kind of a hard time on Cloud 9. What was it like for you during that time?
Well, to me, I just felt like in the past, people didn't have that big of voices. For example, Impact had a really big voice, and me and him worked really well around each other. And nowadays, we're losing a lot. We were losing a lot, so I guess the solution was, changing the rosters, which was fine. I didn't agree to it too much, but they thought that I was talking too much and weren't allowing other players to talk, which was probably pretty true. And I touched on this in the Twitlonger, but I wasn't really decisive enough, and that was just my bad. If I was more decisive, then maybe we wouldn't lose those games where Licorice went 10-0 on LCS stage. You know, this shouldn't happen, and I felt really bad.
And now joining Echo Fox, there are two strong voices in the shot calling, Huni and Dardoch. The desk, I think, was talking a little bit earlier, wondering how you're going to kind of fit in with them if you do have the problem of talking too much. So how do you think you fit in with the team?
Well, I think that the Echo Fox as a team, they have really strong individual players, and they just need someone to mediate those like mechanics, I guess. Like all Echo Fox's past games have been really bloody, really like fighting oriented, but I was kind of like raised to be like more controlled, more, you know, macro heavy. So I kind of want to fill the role and just like mediating the, you know, the crazy play style, I guess.
So you're going to come in, organize everyone, kind of put everyone in their place. But I want to ask you about playing with Lost. This was his first game in the LCS as well. So what was it like playing with him?
Well, he's definitely pretty new. He has a really, you know, fresh rookie mindset, which I like a lot. Like he's really willing to learn and he's willing to admit mistakes, which is it's a pretty hard thing for new players because sometimes when you get to LCS, finally you have like really big ego and that kind of stints some players sometimes, but he's really like humble and he tries to learn a lot. So that's a really good sign.
And really quick before I let you go, this is a new beginning for you on Fox. Just how far do you think you're going to go with this team?
I mean, yeah, we'll go to Worlds. Yeah, let's go with that.
Going to Worlds. Smoothie, thank you so much. And for everyone else coming up, Golden Guardians square off against Team Liquid. Game 4 goes live after the break.
I don't look at the minimap, so.
Yeah, me neither. It just takes up the screen. Guys. I just rely on my jungler to tell me.
Now it's the chase down as there is no TP left to make this one go in. The ulti comes across, the flash over. Damonte finds that kill.
I got it. We can
Nice. Yeah, you guys got it.
Nice.
Here comes Galio, the big hard CC, can they make it happen? Dardoch gets that first kill, Santorin drops, and the re-engage comes through. WILDTURTLE could join, but way too big of health bars. They've picked up 2 already, make it a 3rd.
Okay, boys.
Good job,
Good shit.
This is setup, boys.
WP, boys. That's what I'm talking about.
Turtle goes in the back, can he pick that kill off? He cannot though as they kite away. Turtle is straight back as Huni turns himself around, and the health bars are dropping. FlyQuest will not stay alive here. A final kill picked up, 13-3. The base is gone. FlyQuest is dead, and Echo Fox hold on to first.
Welcome back to Level Up, presented by State Farm. Last week we shared pointers on taking down Rift Herald, so this week we wanted to give some tips on using Eye of the Herald. As of patch 8.14, Shelly prioritizes minions and turrets over champions, so try to activate her trinket when the enemy minion wave is cleared so she remains undistracted. Since hard CC can cancel the summoning of Rift Herald, try popping the trinket out of sight, perhaps just out of lane. This makes it harder for the enemy team to interrupt you. A safe summon will also give her a direct line of sight for a turret charge, which at minimum deals 1,500 damage. If executed properly, this offers you a ton of map pressure and allows Rift Herald to do what she loves, net you some sweet turret gold.